So you guys, I finally got myself a gimbal. So this is from Zhiyun-tech. It's called the Zhiyun Rider-M.
Zhiyun-tech was kind enough to send me their Rider-M Gimbal.
I know I'm a little late to the party, but better late than never, I guess. I can definitely understand the importance of having nice, stable footage, but that doesn't mean I don't understand the importance of getting a proper feel of the trail.
Let's just say there's a reason why I was so late to get a gimbal.
So I asked them to send me the Hero 5 version. It's just a different mount, really, just so it can fit the Hero 5 on it. Because I really wanted to use the Hero 5 camera for the footage, and I want to use my Sennheiser mic with the Hero 4, so that's why I really wanted to use my Hero 5 with the gimbal. Now most people use this gimbal with the Hero 4 because it does tend to balance better. The Hero 5 is definitely a heavier camera, so as you can see I put some coins there. $2 New Zealand coin and a 10-cent Canadian dime, and I feel like that actually works quite well for balancing it so that it doesn't cause issues when you do jumps and do big impacts like that.
Now, one of the problems that people have encountered with the Hero 5 is that the Hero 5 is a heavier camera and the motors on the gimbal can't handle the extra weight when there's impacts, like say landing a jump and stuff. So I've heard of a number of people who just could not use the gimbal at all with the Hero 5. They either returned the gimbal or just went to using it with the Hero 4 instead. But I was determined to find a way of making it work. Basically, it's about 12 grams worth of weight, and you can see that it balances a lot better. And of course, while using it in the real world on mountain bike trails and landing jumps and drops, it actually works perfectly almost. So I'm very happy with that method.
Ouch!
So there weren't exactly instructions for how to best mount the gimbal for mountain biking. Basically, there seems to be about 2 simple ways of mounting it to your chest cam. You could have the gimbal more upright, or you could have it a bit lower down. But the lower down option doesn't work for pretty obvious reasons. So I have to set it upright, like this. Now there are 3 modes when using this gimbal. There's the pan following mode, the locking mode, and the following mode. The following mode locks the tilt axis but enables the pan and the roll axis, so you can look up and down and side to side. I was kind of hoping to be able to use this for the mountain biking because I want the camera to follow me as I go up and down the terrain, but unfortunately that just doesn't really work because you'd kind of need to have your gimbal to be set on a horizontal level while you're in your riding position, which is not really possible. The locking mode just fixes the camera in one direction. Now in the context of mountain biking, there's not really any use of this at all. And then there's pan following mode, and this is the mode that everyone uses when they do their mountain bike footage. Now with all that figured out, let's go on my first mountain bike ride with the gimbal.
Let's do this. I'll angle it down just a little bit here. I'm not too familiar with how much to angle the camera down, so I don't know. I guess we'll just try this. Whoa, okay. Try not to hit my Hero 4 on the helmet here. Woo! So I'm switching a little bit between my helmet cam and the chest. So hopefully you can see a bit of a difference between what no stabilization looks like on my helmet along with the gimbal stabilization. Well, my rear brakes are weird. Whoa, frick. dry berms.
I'm quite happy with how the camera follows me through all these berms and through all the turns. I think it keeps up with me very well, and I'm very happy with that. That was a bit of a worry of mine when I got this gimbal. There's a lot of times when I'd watch other people's footage and I would notice that the camera was kind of delayed when doing corners, and so that's something that I was kind of worried about with my own footage, but thankfully it actually works quite well.
Alright, let's hit a few jumps. Whew. Frick. Really hope this GoPro angle is good. Ouch. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh boy.
Now, I really love the battery life of this gimbal. It lasts so long, like all day long. Like, you do not run out of batteries. Plus, they even gave you an extra pair of batteries. One thing that I'm not too thrilled about is the little piece that connects the gimbal itself to your chest cam mount. It just has a very small screw. It doesn't go in very deep into the gimbal, so it just doesn't feel quite as sturdy as it could be. It hasn't really produced any problems, but it just would give me a little bit more confidence if I had a bit of a longer screw. Now, one thing I always did with all my other GoPro mounts, including my chest cam, is I would make markings on the plastic of the GoPro housing as well as on the J-mount hook so that I would always know which angle to put the camera to. But with the gimbal, when you turn it on, it always goes to perfectly horizontal, and then you have to always manually set it to a downward angle that will be appropriate for your riding. But I don't always know what is the appropriate angle and how can I recreate that same angle. Well, if you're like me and you're a total perfectionist and you also love to hack your way into creating the best results possible, here's what I did. So I did one long marking across the top, and then I did another marking 90 degrees down. And then what I wanted to do was put about 10 markings in between each of those lines. The main point behind this is really just so that you can get a frame of reference for how much to angle the camera. Adjust my camera to either the second line, third line, fourth line, and just always remember that those are the lines that I always will move it to. After some practice of using the camera, I can figure out what kind of angle I will always use, and I will always be able to recreate that same angle. Gimbals are tools for filmmakers to better achieve what we want to capture. Now, one thing I really appreciate about the Rider-M is the settings that are available through the app. Actually, one of the first things I did when I got the gimbal was to open up the app and then set the following speeds to the fastest possible setting, and I adjusted the other settings like smoothness accordingly. I want my camera to follow me through the turns as fast as possible with minimal delay.
Oh.
I really appreciate how the app has all these different settings, allowing you to adjust the following rate for the pitch, roll, and pan axis, and as well as the degree of smoothness. You can even adjust the sensitivity, where it won't even start to stabilize anything until you move it a certain amount. You can adjust it from 0, so it's always active 100% of the time, or even up to 30 degrees, where it won't even activate any stability until you move it 30 degrees. As a filmmaker, I absolutely love those options. They are the best thing ever. It gives me control over what I create, and that's what I need as a filmmaker. And so that means there always has to be options, options, options. And so I very much appreciate the options that Zhiyun-tech has put into this, and I really do hope that there can be even more options in the future with even faster following rates. I would love it to be even more active and precise, where it can just follow you so quickly. because the whole point behind a gimbal is just simply to stabilize your footage. That's it. I watched a lot of reviews about gimbals, all the different kinds of gimbals, and just trying to figure out as much as I could about these gimbals and how they worked, but I've never actually seen a review where they actually addressed all the settings that you could actually control in the app, or even the fact that you could even control any settings. That's something that I really wish I knew about. If I had known that I had all these options in the settings, I honestly would have been looking into gimbals a lot sooner, but nobody seemed to talk about it, which is very strange to me. So I do think that gimbal technology is still quite new, and I think that there's a lot of improving to do actually, but I do have to say I'm actually quite happy. I'm excited to show you guys all my new footage. I look forward to your feedback. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Next week's video will be at the opening day of the Big White bike park. They just finally made a bike park. It just opened earlier in August. As well as all my Whistler videos. I just went to Crankworks, just came back from Crankworks, and have lots of GoPro content from there as well. So stay tuned.